council meeting. If we could all please stand for our opening karakia. Te taua mai ronga, te taua mai raro, te taua mai roto, te taua mai waho.
Kia tau ai te Māori tū, te Māori ora, ki te katoa, haungia, huie, tākia.
Just a reminder, this meeting is being live streamed on our Facebook page. We have apologies from Councillor Crown. If I could have a mover, thank you, Councillor Mawson, second Councillor Price. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against and carried. Do we have any conflicts of interest? We have no public forum. Announcements by myself, just to advise that the meeting today will be moving into public excluded items first due to time constraints of the external presenter. We will complete the whole of the PX agenda and then reconvene into open after that. Any announcements by management? Confirmation of the draft minutes of the meeting held on Monday the 21st of July. And please just to note there is an amendment which was included in the minutes in your council pack just to correct around the Citizens Assembly resolution, including the full formal public promise to the Assembly that we resolved and committed to. So that has been amended in those minutes. Are there any questions regarding that? No? Okay, then I will ask for a mover and set. Thank you, Councillor Mawson. Councillor Crystal. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against and carried. So we will now move into PX, just noting that Greg Timms, our HR consultant, will be permitted to be in the public excluded session. If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Brosnan and Councillor Price. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against and carried. Right. welcome back everybody into our open agenda. So we are now back online as well. So welcome to anybody that's joining us online. And we will jump straight into our agenda items. So first up, we've got the adoption of the Joint Future Development Strategy. And I invite Paulina and Fleur up to present the paper to us, please. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So this paper brings you the resolution to the requirement to adopt the future development strategy. This is a really important momentous occasion for Napier. The FDS is the document that sets up the future of Napier and the region. Really, Hawke's Bay is a very important document for Hawke's Bay, as it sets up the 30-year growth plan for residential and commercial development in the Bay. The FDS has been in development for the last 3 years. It meets our statutory requirements under the National Policy Statement for Urban Development. And we have been collaborated with our regional council and Hastings District Council in the making of the FDS. And it has been the document that I'm presenting to you today for adoption has been fully adopted already by Hastings and yesterday by the regional council, which is really positive. And it is mainly a document that has agreed the site for future development with an exception of a few greenfield sites. I just want to point that out because it's the discrepancies relate to Riverbend Road development in Napier and a couple of sites in Hastings, which is Wall Road and Middle Road sites as well. The important thing is that the FDS meets our requirement for in terms of housing capacity for the future, and it meets all of our statutory requirements. So I would like to open for any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Paulina. Opening up for questions. Councillor Bowe.
Paulina, thank you very much for this. Will our statutory requirements, are they likely to change with the coalition government? Is there any indication that this is going to be removed or changed?
The NPSs are going to, my understanding is that they're going to continue in a similar shape and form, so the requirement to provide for growth on a city would continue, and probably the requirement of working collaboratively as a region. The FDS is the first good step for the development of a regional spatial plan, which is the next step of the RMA legislation. We're going to have to do as a regional spatial plan, and the FDS would provide all the basis for it. I don't know if Fleur might want to add anything else in relation to that as well.
Yeah, thank you. I think that pretty much summarises it. Essentially, the new legislation, we've got a really good understanding of what that might look like in terms of spatial planning, but we don't yet have the legislation itself. So some of the details are still, not quite filled out. But the understanding is that the spatial plan that will be required to do in the future will have a greater scope than what we have required under the NPS for UD for FDSs. And as Paulina said, that means that we've really got a good basis to work with going into the spatial plan, but then with that broader scope for the future.
Thank you, Paulina and Fleur. Now, I haven't sat on the joint committee for this, and I know it's been incredibly complex and there's been lots of differing views, so I'd like to get it straight in my head where we've landed. So site inclusion has been a major cause of contention on the FDS, being that Napier City proposed to include all three as per the independent hearing recommendations. HDC proposed to remove Wall Road and Middle Road, and then Hawke's Bay Regional Council proposed to remove all three, Wall Road, Middle Road and Riverbend Road. So my question for you is, can you summarise, I've got a couple of questions, can you summarise kind of where we've got to? Because there was a risk that we all adopted different FDSs and then that was non-compliant with our National Policy Statement for Urban Development. So that's my first question, and then I'll just load you up with my second question while I'm there, which is, could you talk us through the planning hierarchy? So this is a high-level document, my understanding, and then each council makes its own planning decisions through, like for us, our proposed district plan, and what if those zonings are in conflict, I guess is my question. Thank you.
Yeah, so I can answer that. Yeah, the FDS is a strategic document, so it's a requirement under the National Policy Statement, as we said. The next level of hierarchy is your district plan, what is included in your district plan. In the case of Napier, the sites that are related to Napier are going to be decided very soon because we've been going through a hearing process, and Riverbend has been one of the submitters. Riverbend Development has been a submitter to the proposed district plan. So the likelihood of that site being included in the district plan is still yet to be determined, but we would know probably by the end of September whether that has been proposed for inclusion. If it is included in the district plan, then you have signal that development can occur in that site, but it will still have to go through a rigorous process for determining the suitability of the site, the infrastructure that is required, the cost associated with that, etc., and all the effects. But it could be that once the district plan is finalized, that site is already zoned, which give them the ability to develop the site as proposed for residential.
So through you, Madam Mayor, just to be succinct to answer the question, the district plan takes precedence in terms of planning hierarchy over the FDS.
Over the FDS, yeah.
Thank you. And that first question around whether or not we are compliant with our statutory obligations under the NPS if we all adopt slightly different versions, or by adopting this, we're all adopting the same thing. Can you just, considering all that controversy around site selection, just confirm for us if we're all adopting the same thing or not?
Yes, we actually had a legal review the document and wanting to make sure that we comply with what is required under the legislation, and because the FDS is 99% agreed, it's only that difference in those sites that it does meet our statutory requirements.
The document and attachment 2 is the one that's been adopted by the previous two councils, the Regional Council and the Hastings District Council. Same document.
Thank you for that confidence. That's great.
Any further questions? No. Okay, that being the case, I'm happy to move from the chair. Thank you, Councillor Crystal, as one of my fellow committee members, for seconding that for me. Thank you to Paulina and Fleur and everybody that has been involved as we navigate our way through our future development strategy. It has not been without its challenges, and I think we should actually be pleased that we have landed where we have, where approximately 95% of the strategy has been agreed to by the three partnering councils involved in this process. So this is definitely a milestone, and as you commented, Fleur, this will absolutely be a pivotal sort of piece of information to feed through to our regional spatial planning when we undertake that process. So definitely work done well that we will be using going forward into the future. So thank you for everybody involved. Councillor Crystal.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, totally agree with all that. This was a requirement, to plan for our growth, and one of the big things is protecting our fertile soils, which is very important. So we can grow food because we can't eat concrete. So we meet our statutory requirements by doing this, but we've agreed to disagree on a few sites. So I think this is a really important part of building Napier's future for for the future generations. So thanks, team, for the hard work.
Thank you.
I'll open up for any further speakers. Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you very much. As sitting on the sidelines and watching the Joint Committee go through this process has been a really interesting, I suppose, exercise in co-governance and democracy, seeing that all come together. And so I'm really proud of where you guys have landed as a committee. Like Councillor Crystal said, to agree to disagree. I do just want to make the point that, the proposed district plan zoning will take precedence. So meaning that development can only occur where zoning allows. And the FDS signals that potential growth area, but actual development rights, timing, infrastructure requirements, dealing with hazards, etc., are all dealt with either through the proposed district plan or through a resource consent process. So being included in the FDS is not a right to develop in its own right. And I think that's really important. We've seen in the media that these sites of contention have blown up, all regarding hazards. And I think there is due process inside our legal system and our planning system to be able to deal with the mitigation of all of those issues. And if they can't be mitigated, then development can't occur. And so I think that's a really important point to make. I'm also really proud that Napier was the most enabling of any of the councils going through this process in its allowance for future development. So, thank you to the committee members. I think it has obviously been a marathon to get here, so well done.
Thank you. We've had 3 talk in support. Is there any wishing to speak against? And I will just use my right of reply as the mover just to expand a little bit on Deputy Mayor Brosnan's comments. And one of my frustrations being on the Joint Committee was that I kept hammering home those exact facts, that this is a strategic document and it does not mean that there is therefore a right for these developments to go ahead, that very much sits within the frameworks that we have in our planning and regulatory tools. And also to highlight that we are the only council that has actually adopted the full set of recommendations that came through from the independent hearing panel, who were a group of expert commissioners who sat and listened to all the submitters, read all of the submissions in detail, and were the ones that were best placed to actually make those set of recommendations. So I think that we have taken the correct path by choosing to adopt the recommendations they put to us. That being said, I will now put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lena, thank you, Fleur. Right, now we've got 3 papers, again with Steph presenting to us, all quite procedural. Firstly, the minutes of joint committees for the Hawke's Bay Civil Defence Emergency Management Group from March, the Napier Hastings Future Development Strategy Committee from May, and Joint Waste Futures Project Committee, both May and June. I'll just open up to elected members if there are any questions of the representatives of any of those joint committees. No, that's nice and easy.
Just one question, sorry.
Councillor
through you, Mayor. How frequently do these committees meet, approximately?
Well, the Napier Hastings Future Development Strategy Committee will now be inactive. Hawke's Bay Civil Defence, do we meet quarterly? Quarterly. There has been some conversations about making that more frequent. And Councillor Brown, do you know how often the joint waste? Quarterly?
Yeah, quarterly, but we've had to have some extra meetings in there.
Because of the work you're doing at the moment.
And the landfill should be in there, but they haven't done them.
Right.
And the 2 meetings, one was the hearing for the WMP, but we've had that all brought back to us.
Great. Okay. If there's no further questions, could I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Brown, Councillor Bogue, thank you very much. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against and carried. Next up, we have official information requests as at the 15th of August. Again, this is predominantly a information report just to, I guess, make it visible the degree of legoimas that we receive as a council, and the resource that's required to respond to those. The list seems to be growing exponentially at the moment, which is probably no surprise considering we are in an election period. But look, I do want to acknowledge the team, Steph, because I know that there's a lot of hours that goes into responding to these across the whole organisation, because we need to, get everyone who's part of the legoima from all parts of the organisation involved. And it's really useful having it here included in our agenda. So
Thank you.
thank you. So if I could have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Gregg, Councillor Price, thank you very much. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. And our last one with Steph is the action points register. So I'll open up if there is any questions of any of those items. Oh, and we've got an update from Steph. Fabulous.
That's correct. Through the chair, there is an update for item number 171, which is just to note that the planetarium is currently working with its closure to the public by September 2026 and moving out of its current premises during October to December next year.
Thank you. That's useful to have that update and that time frame that we need to work alongside them with to see if we can find a new home. So, Councillor Gregg.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. Just a point of clarification on point 192. Could we have figures for the aquarium budget as well as the other facilities? We've received figures for Ocean Spa, Kennedy Park and Napier Conference, but not for the aquarium.
We can take that as an action away and speak to Caroline and Talia regarding that.
Any further questions? If I could have a mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Brosnan, thank you. Councillor Mawson, thank you. Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against and carried. Rightio, on to the excitement of the day. Oh, not that you weren't exciting, Steph, it was riveting. Thank you very much.
Oh, funny.
And I'd invite Andrew up to speak to the adoption of our water services delivery plan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Wise. Happy to take the report as read, but just really want to outline some of the key aspects, I guess, of the water service delivery plan. Now, this was a mandate from central government that we had to put this plan together and submit it to the Secretary for Local Government by the 3rd of September of this year. And that really formed the basis of this whole journey on local water done well, where we identified the different options that were available to us. We consulted with our community on those options and ultimately ended on our preferred option, which is to establish a joint water organization with the partnering councils of Central Hawke's Bay District Council and Hastings District Council. What this plan now outlines is kind of like 4 distinct sections, really. One is the statement of the financial sustainability of this preferred model, which looks at your revenue sufficiency. Are you collecting enough revenue to cover your costs? Your investment sufficiency, so are you investing enough to replace assets? Do you have a sufficient renewal program? And are you meeting your growth projections and required level of service? Then as well, do you actually have some additional information to support that around compliance status, large capital projects, which is all outlined through the plan. Confidence is high that we meet all of the requirements under DIA. We have been engaging with DIA through the process of developing this plan. They had an initial review of it maybe 8 weeks ago, and they're very supportive of the direction we were taking. So in seeking adoption, we do believe that it will meet the requirements under legislation and are here today to seek council adoption and then to delegate authority to the chief executive to sign and execute, making minor amendments as required, mainly formatting or any corrections in that regard. So happy to take any questions on the paper or the water service delivery plan if there are any.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I'll open up to questions. Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. No issues with our documentation, more a question of external forces. I understand that currently the minister or DIA are communicating with the local authorities that are choosing at this stage to do their own thing. Have we received any correspondence from central government around the need or there might be a necessity to reincorporate the likes of Wairara into our plan?
Through the chair, we've not heard any information if there is that requirement. I suppose what would dictate that was once they receive all of the plans from local authorities, they might make that assessment and maybe perhaps make that recommendation, which then would have to come back to council for approval or determining those next steps. But at this stage, the plan is just to incorporate with the 3 partnering councils.
Thank you.
I have a question, thank you.
Councillor Bogue.
Is the expectation that when the ministry or DIA has a look at our plan, that there might be some suggested changes or feedback which might require us to go back to the beginning or back to the books at some stage?
Through the chair, the feedback we've been given is if there's any requirements that it might be like a monitoring provision. So it wouldn't be that we'd have to go right back and reassess everything and go through consultation. It might be more of a recommendation or something that they want a bit more visibility on. And that would probably come from more of the reviews through Commerce Commission around economic regulation and Kamata Ottawa around those compliance factors that we need to adhere to. But at this stage, there's nothing that indicates we'd have to go right back to the drawing board on this.
Councillor Crystal.
Just through the chair, obviously it's made the media, but the errors by PwC and their calculations, have we had to include the adjustments in here, and what difference, has it made much difference?
Yes, through the chair, we have made those adjustments. So there was an error in the model, which was around the cash interest coverage to debt ratio. So when LGFA is assessing these from a financing perspective, there's 2 core ratios that they look at. So that's one of them. The other one is your FFO, so free funds from operations to debt ratio. The error in the model had to do with how they were calculating the year-on-year difference in that cash interest coverage ratio. Apparently, I believe it was not compounding the way it should. Unfortunately, we didn't have visibility of that. It was really embedded within PwC's model, which was their IP. For Napier City residents, what it projected was about a difference of $300 per annum by financial year 34. So when we went to consultation, the projected revenue required was $3,100 of water charges. This has brought it down now to $2,800. So for Napier residents, obviously there's a greater projected savings, but it wasn't as significant as someone like our neighbors with Central Hawke's Bay. I guess the reality of the model, though, is there's assumptions and there's potential errors baked in through it. And looking at it, it hasn't really changed the trajectory of what it has done. The model was designed to identify what's the most cost-effective water service delivery option to our residents in our community, and that pointed to the regional organization. With those errors identified and corrected, it still points that the regional model is the preferred option that's going to deliver the best value for money to the ratepayers.
Councillor Brown.
Kia ora, through you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for the report, Andrew, and just want to acknowledge, like on page 34, those list of tables, the figure 16 in particular. I think that way of presenting information is really excellent, and it really helps at that governance level to understand the condition of our assets. So just a shout out to the graph that I think that's really a brilliant way of presenting the information. It'd be neat for that to continue to come back to council. I was even thinking it might be transferable to things like our roading network and stuff. So my question is around, so obviously we've got a number of non-compliances in there that are recorded, and I'm pretty sure we've talked through all of them. Would you be able to just give us a high-level flavour just to see if there's any red flags that we don't remember?
Through the chair, I can think through, obviously, drinking water compliance of non-compliance to the drinking water standards is probably the biggest red flag. But there's the work program in place to address that. There was a couple of stormwater consents that we were non-compliant with, but they were quite minor when I talked to the environment team. So I can't really give a full summary because I suppose when I was putting together the plan with the other team members from the councils, what DIA's focus was, if you had a non-compliance, they want to ensure that you had a level of investment identified to address it. And that's really what the purpose of the plan was. So in terms of the drinking water non-compliance is that we've got the whole water supply master plan in train to address that. But as an action, because I can't provide it right now, we could provide you with a summary of our key non-compliances so that it's just more visible if you'd like that.
Yeah, there was one that struck me, the wastewater one. Just wanted to check. That's just because we had a issue with the outfall and we did a repair, and that we had a non-compliance during that time. Is that correct? It's not ongoing?
Sorry, Councillor Brown, and I know we did chat about this earlier, but Andrew might not be the best person to respond to these questions because it's a different part of the water team that, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So I think because we do have that regular report that comes through which just speaks to non-compliance, which I think will be where your recollection is around that particular wastewater one. So Russell can just follow that up and confirm.
Yeah, be good.
Great.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for the report. One of the things I was looking for, and potentially this isn't the right place to look for it in, but one of our sort of non-negotiables was that we had our in-house delivery model for the delivery of our water services. That wasn't front and centre for me in the report, and I'm wondering, should it be? Is it something we have accurately highlighted, I guess, is my lingering question.
Yeah, through the chair, I believe it's not critical to what the purpose of this plan is. Where we have that front and center, where I think it is most impactful is in that heads of agreement and going into those foundational documents that's going to actually govern the organization when it stood up. So I have confidence that we've captured the importance and the necessity for that in those foundational documents. And as we further develop those will be coming back to council for approval. So within the plan, it was more, I guess, high level. They want to say, how are you doing it? They weren't overly concerned with what's the projected path forward. And especially, I guess, within the organization, we can't really speak to what their view would be on it, but that's where you as a council having in those foundational documents is the key to ensuring that it's adhered to.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that sort of certainty and clarity, because I do think that is something that when I think about us moving into a different realm like we are, it is so important for the affordability of Napier in this space that we continue to deliver those services as efficiently and effectively as we do in-house now. Yeah, thank you.
Any further questions or even any general discussion? There being none, I am very happy to move from the chair. And thank you very much, Councillor Price, for seconding that. So, wow, yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to be moving this motion. It has been a journey to adopt our water services delivery plan, which we, as has been highlighted by Andrew, were required to do under the Local Water Done Well legislation. So this plan represents a significant milestone, not just in compliance, but in our shared commitment as a region to delivering high quality, sustainable water services for the people of Napier and the wider Hawke's Bay region. It ensures that we retain local ownership, which we all know has been vitally important to our community, and local accountability, while also working collaboratively with our regional partners to improve outcomes for our drinking water, wastewater and stormwater services. Adopting this plan today confirms that Napier is ready to lead. We're ready to invest wisely and to deliver water services that our community can trust both now and into the future. I absolutely have to say a sincere thank you to Louise as the lead CE through this process and navigating our joint conversations across the Hawke's Bay councils. She has led with professionalism, pause and calmness at all times. And to Andrew, who has been absolutely outstanding. Your regular updates and workshops with us has meant that I believe that we were the best set up out of any of the Hawke's Bay councils to truly understand what it was that we were working our way through to where we are today, to adopting the Water Services Delivery Plan. At times it felt like Groundhog Day, I'm sure we'd all agree, but it was really important that we did have all of that information so that we could move forward with confidence. And I am completely moving forward with confidence today in terms of adopting this plan. So thank you very, very much. I'll pass across to Councillor Price.
Thank you very much. You haven't actually left much for me. I guess I'd just like to thank the staff, Louise, Andrew and the rest, that how well informed you've kept us through this process. We might even say over-informed at some stages, but it's made it, I think, easy for us. You've really done well, and congratulations. And it is good to go forward with our water, the three of them, and be confident about the direction we're heading. And well done. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open up to any other speakers. Excellent. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. And I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you. Excellent. Right, so now we move on to the reports from the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 7th of August. And I will open up for any opportunity to ask questions. If people are here that can answer them, they will. Otherwise, we will simply take a note of them to be responded to later on. Number of agenda items. There was the update on the new contract register and procurement and contract management intranet site. We had the health and safety by design and Te Kiti, which we've also received here at full council, that particular report. The risk management report, health and safety update report, the external audit action status update, and the sensitive expenditure, Mayor and Chief Executive. If there were any questions. No? Okay, if I could have a mover and seconder for the agenda item, please. Thank you, Councillor Price. Seconded by Councillor Taylor. Any comments? No? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. And we now have the... We didn't have any reports from Ngāmanukunuka? No. Okay. There was no reports from Ngāmanukunuka, which means we're going straight into our tenders let report, of which we have an officer's recommendation to receive the tenders let for the period 14th of July to 15th of August. A few in there, some great ones to see moving forward. The Whakarere Ave car park and pathway, Baysgate Plaza skating deck, the Mission Hills Rising Main and Pump Station, Principal Advisor for the wastewater outfall replacement, and Carlisle Street stormwater improvements. Again, open up for questions which may need to be taken offline. And really we are just doing the final receiving of these contracts that have been awarded. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Brosnan, seconded by Councillor Crystal. There being no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Excellent. Brings us to the end of our meeting. Thank you, folks, and we'll just stand for our closing karakia. Kia tau, taranga marie, ki ronga i ngā iwi katoa, kia pikiti ora, te kaha me te māramatanga, i ngā wā katoa, tihei Māori ora. Well done, team.